Good morning, Linda. Welcome to Living Room. Welcome to Entrevue. You have already been to Living Room. Actually, you were with us in the basement of Manifattura Tabacchi. That was in November. Now we are online, so the look and feel has a bit changed. So, Linda, I'm going to introduce you in a few words. I will try because you are a creative director, educator, coach, curator, opinion leader. You have been working for more than 50 years in the fashion industry as a director of the Fashion Museum in Antwerp, director of the fashion department of the Royal Academy of Arts in Antwerp. So you have participated to and you have seen directly this great movement of designers and fashion designers that were born actually in that school, in that period. And you have also been directing the Polimoda Institute in Florence, so many things, and created exhibitions. And then you have also founded the Linda Loppa factory, so you went into the promotion of art, culture, and education. So I welcome you again. Today, Linda, I'm going to entrust you with the most precious of the subjects, which is time. So we are going to talk about time. And the first thing I want to ask you, which is, according to you, the relationship that exists between fashion and time.
Well, first, thank you for inviting me to Living Room. It was a good experience in the basement, real people that you can embrace. Now it's more digital, but it's also really interesting. The relationship between fashion and time is a kind of love and hate relationship because, in a sense, we have a lot of deadlines, a lot of calendars. It's always very linked to a full agenda of moments to reach, to have a show, have a presentation, have a communication, a photo shoot, and so on. And that makes it life in fashion quite demanding, quite stressful. And it might become negative if time is overruling quality and the values of what fashion should be, a kind of joy, a kind of frivolous activity, because in fact it's a kind of luxury we don't really need, or it's a bit of an overacting activity of dress that could be in fact very simple in a tailor atelier making a beautiful dress, which is a timeless procedure. Actually, I forgot to tell you, I'm the daughter of a tailor. So my father was a tailor and also my grandfather. So there is a slow process when you put the fabric on the table, you have to cut the pattern on it and so on. So now it's a really fast activity, and that makes it a kind of a difficult relationship. On the other hand, that pressure is needed to perform. And a lot of designers couldn't cope without pressure to always make new things and innovate. So there is a kind of double feeling about time in fashion. Now, especially in those 2 months that designers are at home, they enjoy their families, they enjoy cooking, they enjoy another time relationship with their job. So the human side comes out with this kind of slower rhythm of time. So I think everybody was aware that the rhythm in fashion was actually insane. I called it at a certain moment fashion slavery, because designers and journalists, they had to travel the whole 3 months to see, I don't know, 500, 600 shows and talk to people. But it wasn't really a good feeling. And I canceled also my trip to Paris because of that. I felt already in Italy a bit of a stress situation with the coronavirus. And I thought, well, maybe I can enjoy it more from home, and I was completely right.
And also, actually, this constant research for time, which is also research for novelty, because fashion is looking for time and looking for always renewing itself and being avant-garde with respect of the time. It has always fascinated me, the relationship between this aspect of fashion, the trend that contemporary art has taken maybe in the last years, maybe also the fact that the fashion system was actually established at the beginning of the century closely to the artistic avant-garde, I wanted to know your opinion, even from your point of view as a creative director, with respect to this parallel with contemporary art.
Well, fashion doesn't has the word contemporary in it. It's not the contemporary fashion week. It doesn't exist. So there is the contemporary art fair. So there you see already the big difference in the interpretation of the word contemporary. Art has the feeling, and it was, maybe now it lost a bit, that kind of timeless creativity that you can perform when you are ready. You can do an exhibition when you think your gallery is ready. You make an art piece when you have the moment of inspiration and you make it. Of course, the times also in art has changed. We have a lot of deadlines, museums, exhibition openings, plannings. If you look at the history of art, it's always also a reaction of a previous moment in the art history. Recently, Germano Celand was really impressive, who he put arte povera as counter activity, a counter philosophy to what happens with pop art in the United States. So it's always a reaction on something, but reactions takes more time, have more time to develop in art than in fashion. And here we see the relationship with time very, very clearly. That fashion is already old when it shows on a catwalk, when it's in the show and people bought it, it's already gone. We are already in the next situation to invent something new, which is a kind of frustration in a way.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's eating itself constantly. So I think that everything should be new when it is made today and show tomorrow. There is no actually history in fashion. History is for the history books, for the archives. For me, fashion is an activity that is constantly in innovation and constantly in research to something new. And not only what new in the kind of form and shape, but also new in technology, new in communication, new in finding new materials. The problem of the fashion industry is very polluting industry. So everything has every day, every week, every month, every year, another topic to be developed. And I think that that's what attracts me to fashion. It's that constantly being active, your brain is constantly working. And art as well, because I think now that artists have to perform faster. So you have in two, art and fashion, the time perception that is different, but at the end we are all in a system that has to perform in a way. The artist who is not really in the activity of being in an exhibition or in a gallery is probably also not really confronted with the time that we need to perform well and to have something to say, because it's also dialogue with the audience, and that the two industries have in common. I mean, we don't do this for ourselves, we do that for the other people to have a dialogue, a conversation.
Even if also actually the fact of exposing fashion is something that is more and more common in the fashion sector. I think of so many fashion museums that have been raised in Italy, but also exhibitions like now that we are talking, the Met Gala fashion exhibition should have been in New York.
Well, there are not so many actually who present fashion in the contemporary way. The Metropolitan next year has an exhibition about time, by the way. And but it's like 100 years of history and then a short moment of what fashion is today. I'm not happy anymore with those kind of exhibitions. And also the Met is an overacting of theatrical performance of whatever thing, that we don't need this really in this world today. I get a little bit nervous of that kind of superficiality, of extravagance that finally doesn't help anybody in the world. the fashion industry is a beautiful industry made by beautiful people, and also workers in small countries, in poor countries. So now we are looking at this complete fashion industry that, frankly spoken, lately was a bit kind of a superficial and cheap experience. I was a bit embarrassed when I saw all those people overdressed in that Met Gala. I don't think it's a good promotion for fashion.
Yeah, and according to this and this extravaganza and superficiality you were speaking of, maybe it has also to do with what you were saying at the beginning. So the fact that there's not even time to think deeply for designers and for all the people that work in the fashion industry. So the feeling is that we are in the pursuit of the time, the lost time, you know. So what do you think that this situation, this slowdown of time, how it will impact on the fashion sector, if it will have drastic changes, or in general, which will be the directives and perspectives for the future?
At the long term, I'm not sure there will be a lot of changes. But in the short term, today, in the coming year, there will be a lot of changes of less traveling, less losing time with conferences, with cruise collections, reducing the collections, making one fashion show with men and women, skipping another. So everybody is searching for solutions. Yesterday we had the global conversations. There was John Galliano, and he's actually a person who had the extravagance at Dior. He exploded with all that kind of fabrics and theatrical shows. But now he's in his studio, he's working with other materials that he can find in Paris with a lot of smaller team. And he says, I'm enjoying it more. I think that designers understand now that with less they can do more. And they have kind more of a human relationship with their team, or more human relationship with their workers to produce. So in the short term, it will be slower and more local, for sure. On the long term, you know, next year, maybe a little bit more exhibitions, more shows, and of course, with a few years, the rhythm would be the same. In China, there was the kind of greedy buying, you know, of garments and things online. It was the kind, practically a sickness of willing to buy every day something. And now the young generation says, that's not enough, that's not life anymore. So they're reselling everything to go back to their normal activity and normal relationship with fashion. Because fashion has to dress somebody in a good way, that's all. More, it's not more than that. I mean, art has more a longer history with the relationship with somebody who likes an art piece. So you have it in your home for your whole life. I mean, fashion is in your wardrobe. So you understand that you have too much and that you don't need anything more. So there is a kind of new relationship with the action of dress, the wear to dress, and there is another relationship with the comfort zone that you want to be in. Is traveling constantly, every day, from New York to London to China to Japan, for production to India and so on, is that the quality of life? No. People understand now that this is not what we are born for. We are born to enjoy good quality of life, being at home and being together with the whole family and the children. So I think they will educate their children very differently, although they have a very good responsibility, very high responsibility, to make a better world, of course, because we made, my generation, we made a mess out of it. We didn't, you know, there was no consciousness about nature and so on. But I feel that there is a positive relationship regarding time for the moment. We appreciate it more, which is actually a good feeling.
Well, and I think that on this perfect phrase, we can end our conversation, because it is actually, I was not thinking of this at the beginning, but time regarding to fashion, I think it is the best relationship that we could find, and all the things that you have said about sustainability also in fashion, which is another great theme that we always think of sustainability regarding maybe to the pollution of the cities and of the great factories, but fashion, it has a role in this. And so the fact that maybe slowing down and gaining again time will have also mentally and practically have an impact on the role of fashion in our society. So thank you, Linda, for this beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Marifatura Tabaki. It was really an honor and also a joy. I mean, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank